I had to like pinch myself because it's just like I expected this, but it's just so surreal that I just sit back and I'm like, wow, like I'm really out here, AP, birthday, in a pandemic, trying to get these new set of kids to like me, know about them, and change some things around for the better. And it's just, everything is just flowing. Everything is flowing. I mean, it's you have your typical days in the school so far. I already had to investigate and do some things, but it's just everything is just coming together, and I just really, really give honor to God because this is all Him. This is all Him connecting me to you guys. It's been such a divine connection, and like you guys always say, this group is so powerful. I mean, there's just no other words to describe how powerful this group is and how everything has just been flowing. So I'm just so excited. Again, it feels so surreal. Today's my birthday. I'm an 8. Like, it's just so many things. I'm overjoyed. I am overjoyed, and I'm just happy.
First, good afternoon, everybody. I'm grateful that everybody made it to see another day and that you are here. I just would be remiss if I did not send a special prayer and shout out to the members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, as unfortunately their national president suddenly and unexpectedly just passed. So right now, a lot of friends and sisters of mine, and I say sisters because they're my sisters. If you're in a organization or a Black women's organization and understand that leadership matters, whether you're a principal or whether you are in Jack and Jill or whether you are in a softball league, leadership matters. And so as a president of a local chapter for the National Council of Negro Women, all of the 4 historically Black Greek letter sororities are affiliate organizations. And although I am not a member of that organization, when there was a substantial shift in leadership that is traumatic, we want to ensure that we lift up our sisters in prayer. And so if you have sisters who are members of that organization or affiliate organizations, please ensure, if you can, even if it's 1 or 100, just check on them, because that absolutely can be traumatic. The president's name was Cheryl A. Hickman. She was just installed in November, I believe, of 2021. And it's a shocker. Just a shocker. It's always a shock when you kind of wake up and people that you knew or were your heroes as you were getting older was a shock. Like yesterday when we lost, brother Andre Leon Talley, even though we didn't know him, one of the first people that I thought about in like, wow, so such a loss was, Bars. And I was just thinking continually about what that impact. Of course, we may not personally know that person, but for the character of what they carried and the magnitude of being the first Black man to actually sit and be a part of fashion history, and then knowing that immediately can impact, Principal Pitts and her entire fashion high school, I know that was a loss. And so although we may look at these people from afar, now that we're at a seasoned age, we know how that can impact adults across the country, and also how that can also affect our children. So please, I just want to make sure that we extended our love and condolences to the members, and as well as any other sisters and brothers who are feeling this shock.
Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So even with the best strategy that you have and the best game plan, if you haven't cultivated or set the conditions for what you want to see and what you want to do, it doesn't matter how strategic you are. So I was sharing with Dennis that at one point in my life, I was a principal in Baltimore. And prior to me going to Baltimore with signing my contract there, one of the things that I negotiated in my contract was that every February from when I became a principal, every midwinter recess, I always traveled with principal friends. That was always my self-care and a way to connect with my colleagues and friends. And so we negotiated that in my contract, but that was not something that we made public. So February was because the people in Baltimore are in school during that time. So I booked a trip to Egypt, and I was super excited. Like, who's not super excited about going to Egypt? Right? Like, I was like, oh, I'm going to Egypt. And I got on a plane with I actually drove to New York, got on a plane from JFK and did a whirlwind tour of Egypt. And I decided that while I was in Egypt, that I was going to be in the pyramids, like in between the pyramids in the desert on a 4x4, which is like the most amazing experience I ever had with a tour guide. And I threw up my thumbs, like, this is great, and posted it on social media. When I got back to Baltimore, before I knew it, my picture had gone viral. And not viral we're excited to see that our principal is taking some time for self-care and is in Egypt where this all happened. It was, our school is falling apart and look what our principal was doing. And that became the narrative. Our school is falling apart. We having a hard time. Our principal is out there having a good time, and look at her. And I was crushed because the culture at that school was that you share everybody had each other's social media. So I never thought about, like, blocking people, not posting pictures. It's Egypt. Of course I'm posting pictures about Egypt. But I realized the conditions, and I was very sad. I was angry. And I was like, this is it. I'm going back home to New York. Like, if this is how you treat people. And I was devastated, absolutely devastated, because I put everything on the floor and did everything that I needed to do to make sure that school was successful in a place that I'm not from, and built some really great relationships and did some really great work for kids to only be overshadowed by a vacation that I had already talked about. So the moral of the story is I had to really do some reflection and say, like, what were the conditions that I set that people would even have that conversation? So I could have been and should have been a lot more thoughtful about, I came in there like a bull in China, in a China store, trying to really make gains and changes. And therefore there was some broken relationships and people I had to make angry, people I had to fire, and I had to do that really quickly. But I also wasn't transparent about my journey through that. So though I might have been right and may have been legal, I still, from a culture standpoint, had to set the conditions at my school so that would be something that would be embraced, and that would be something that would be loved.
Here's the truth, right? We breathe in and we breathe out. We have to receive in order to give. When you take a deep breath in, if you hold your breath long enough, it gets very, very uncomfortable. You have to push it back out. And the same thing, if you exhale all of the breath in your lungs, you're going to have to breathe back in. It feels good to give, right? It feels rewarding and fulfilling. When you don't allow others to give to you, you block them from experiencing that. I don't think that's what you really want to do. No. I don't think that's the intention, right? So what it is we feel those uncomfortable feelings. And yes, Anisha, you are worthy. Every single person in this space is worthy of both giving and receiving. And it's important that we do that, because if we don't, we're not complete as a person. We don't feel that way. And there's a deficit in there that needs to be filled. Now, obviously, we have to fill our own cups up first. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, we have a team around us. We have support and love around us for a reason and a purpose, because none of us was meant to do this alone. Not one of us. And why would we want to when there's so much power in us connecting, right? And you moving forward, everybody moving forward, one thing after another, and sharing in that amplifies everything we're doing. So thank you for having the humility to receive, because that is what it takes, is humility and knowing that you are worth it, you deserve it. And obviously it is Christ in you, the hope of glory. So it's okay to say thank you. And that's really all you have to say. Thank you.
I just wanted to give you the opportunity, Amadeus, to to speak to them, to speak to the OSG family about how life has changed for you, even in the past week, when it comes to you being able to create this legacy for you and your book and your family.
First of all, greetings, peace, and blessings to everybody. I was just in the room, just listening. Obviously, the field that you kings and queens are in is a total different, world from me. So just to hear the accolades and the brother getting his doctorate, and same thing with you, D. I didn't even know that you was working towards that. It's just inspiring to see Black kings and queens just be great in their respective areas. So just super inspiring for me, man. And immediately after being on the call yesterday, the first person that reached out to me immediately was Principal Jocko. And she was just ready. She was ready to go. And she's like, hey, you OSG fam, let's do it. So she was the first principal that I had a conversation with. We've been on FaceTime a few times. She introduced me to a few people, some key people in the game, especially on the DOE side. So super shout out to Principal Jocko. And it's just a blessing, man. It's just a blessing that I can come on here, meet you amazing individuals, and knowing that you guys have the heartbeat and the pulse to, these amazing young kings and queens in the schools. And I'm grateful, man. I'm really grateful. I had to come back, just say hello to everybody, say thank you, and give a few shout outs to the principals that I've, already started having conversations with.
Exercising is absolutely important. Make sure you get, I know it's like 150 minutes a day, a week rather, but at least shoot for like 30 minutes of doing something, some sort of activity. It's a great stress reliever. It improves your metabolism. Did I say it's a great stress reliever? Because listen, I know what you all, I'm not a principal. I thought my job was hard as a physician. But when I hear all the experiences that you all are going through, I'm like, I will never, ever complain about being a doctor ever again. Principals have it hard. You need a stress reliever. Exercise is there. Don't ever say you cannot exercise, because listen, there's a lot of different exercises out there. You could do anything. You could walk. You could even do some push-ups and some squats at home. You can do yoga. You can play football. You can play basketball with your friends. There is always a way to exercise. There's even seated exercise. You can get on Google and look up seated exercises. There are all these amazing routines out there, free resources for you to be able to move your body, because it's so absolutely important for your overall health.